Hi, I'm Cameron Evans from RedLine Oil, and if you hear any race cars in the background, it's because we're here at the NHRA Winter Nationals in Pomona, California, and luckily our friends from lots of different industries are able to come and visit, and this time now we've got our friends from the remote control airplane business, and today we're talking a little bit about our two-stroke race oil that has become quite a phenomenon for people like Desert Aircraft and some of the people building some of the bigger scale engines in that industry. A lot of people ask us what it is about our two-stroke oils that make them work so well, and it's on a lot of different levels. Basically, RedLine, for all the products we make for your car too, are invested in the highest quality raw materials possible, and also at the biggest amounts of these raw materials. We have very robust levels of a lot of different chemicals that we use in these products. When it comes to two-stroke race, one of the most important things that you probably notice is detergency. It's very expensive to provide. We don't make a lot of profit on an oil like this, and we try to keep the price of this product down. However, it does cost a little more to buy the best two-stroke oil in the world. Detergency is part of that. It keeps the rings clean, it keeps the carbon buildup down, and a lot of times that is what a lot of people are looking for in these engines. There's also anti-wear additives. We're trying to keep down the wear in these engines, and it doesn't matter if it's a go-kart engine that's revving 17,125 cc's or one of these tiny RC engines that they need the same kind of anti-wear to try to keep metal-to-metal wear down. Something else that a lot of people have looked at, or reasons they go toward RedLine oil, is because they're trying to get to leaner mixtures. Sometimes we tell you, be careful. You want to tune the engine to where it works well. You still need some two-stroke oil. It's not like you just want to keep getting the level oil down and down and down until there's none left. When you get to that level, go back up a little bit. But basically, because RedLine's ester-based two-stroke oils are so efficient, you can use a little less of them. Not only is your consumption, does it get a little less expensive when you do that, but it's also a matter of being able to keep this engine running sharp all the time. When you need a lot of oil in an oil mixture in order just to keep it lubricated, that the engine doesn't run as sharp, and it's a lot more difficult to tune. So one of the things that comes up in the radio-controlled airplane world is people start talking about ratios. They say, hey, I can run 100-to-1 with Amsoil and I'm running 40 or 50-to-1. But even at 100-to-1 with some of these lesser oils, a leaner oil ratio, they're saying, why am I seeing more carbon buildup? Well, because you got to remember that when you're using a product like RedLine and enough of it at 40 or 50-to-1, there's a lot of detergency in there to take away this carbon buildup. It's a big, big part of what you're trying to do in this setup. The other thing, too, you want to remember is that instead of having to run at 30-to-1 with lesser oils and running at, let's say, 50-to-1 with RedLine, if you can run a little less oil, that means that there's more fuel available to make power. Remember that oil does not make power. All it does is make room for fuel to make more power. So one of the questions that a lot of enthusiasts have is about cooling, and it's a very complicated issue. It's something you'll have to tune through yourself, because with all these different fuels and additives, there's a lot of variables that RedLine can't control. But you do know that running RedLine, you know you've got the amount of lubrication you need, that when the fuel's a bit of a variable, if you do see high temperatures, you may still see great wear. So that's a big part of it. Understand, sometimes temperature is a little bit out of the control zone for the oil to take care of. However, that you know you need a good lubricant, so if it does get hot, your parts still don't wear out. Another question we hear a lot about is break-in. We've said for years, you've got to do a little experimentation to see if you can get away with break-in. We know that our friends at Desert Aircraft are now recommending to break a lot of engines in on RedLine, and that's the case. Remember that when you talk about break-in, what you're trying to do is get the piston ring to make a seat with the actual cylinder and how it's been honed. But we know that you guys all have a very special engine preparation that's very different than automotive. There's been enough experimentation now that we know that running RedLine as a break-in oil is more than acceptable in the remote control aircraft engine business.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time, and we really appreciate the great product you have, and hopefully more folks will use this interview as a knowledge base for their application.
Nah, it's great. We love this industry, and for us it's just racing. It's just fun like cars or motorcycles or anything else. It's fantastic. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you for your time.
You bet.